Ballin' like the playoffs. I walk in with my homie. Walk out with your baby mama's home key. I can tell she want it. Fat booty, so you know a nigga own it. I'm such a OG. Last time I checked, my verses were for OZ.
Chris Algieri.
Speed belongs to Pacquiao.
Wow, Kenny.
Like a right hook, right on the money, right on the button.
He's a former flyweight, beating up one of the biggest welterweights we ever saw.
What up? It's your boy Cardinal Red, and we back for some more of that Ali Land Daily Boxing Talk, people. And today we talking Spence Jr. is Crawford's only big fight, not Manny Pacquiao, says Bob Arum. Alright, y'all, so I want to break down why I agree with what Big Bob Arum is saying about Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford, and why Terence Crawford really, his only option is to fight Errol Spence Jr. It's really not to fight Manny Pacquiao. And if that's what he wants is big fights, I think his next big fight and his only big fight at the moment should be focused on Errol Spence Jr. Alright, y'all, so if you watch my videos, you should know my take on what Manny Pacquiao's going through as far as scheduling his next fight and who he should be fighting and why he should be fighting and the path I think he should take, and why I feel like it's unfair for him to have to go through Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Instead, I think they should have to fight each other basically, and the winner gets Pacquiao. But let me break down why I feel like Bob Arum is right about. I don't think he's going to get a shot at Manny Pacquiao, but he could get a shot at Errol Spence Jr. if he wants. You know what I'm saying? So, I just feel like Manny Pacquiao at the moment, he has so much on his plate that it would be impossible for him to fight both of these guys in the same year. And if his goal is to fight 2 fights and retire, one of those perhaps being a exhibition with Conor McGregor. So if he's going to have 2 professional fights and then the exhibition with Conor McGregor in 2021, I think his best route would be to go with a tune-up fight, let those 2 guys sort it out, fight each other, and then him take on the winner for a full unification fight, win or lose. I think that would be a better route for Manny Pacquiao at this point in his career, because I really think because he's going to run for the presidency in the Philippines, and I believe it's 2022, that I think 2021 is going to be Manny Pacquiao's exit year from boxing. It might spill over a little bit into 2022 depending on the route he decides to take. If he decides to fight a tune-up fight with Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Eugenius Ugas, perhaps somebody we haven't thought of yet. But if that's the route he decides to take the tune-up with one of those guys, and then let Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Bud Crawford fight it out, and him take on the winner of the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight in late 2021, perhaps the end of the summer, early fall, mid-fall, early, maybe a Christmas fight, a New Year's fight, something like that. And then him going and taking on Conor McGregor to end his boxing career. Because if he wins, it would be a lot of fan base for that fight. And if he loses, I think people will still be interested in watching him end his career with the exhibition with McGregor. Because I think he has more to gain from taking a tune-up with a decent opponent like a Mikey Garcia or Sean Porter or a Eugenius Ugas, especially Ugas, because he mimics the body type of Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. But if he took on a Sean Porter, it would be a tough fight, would be a good fight, a great tune-up for him to get in there with Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. Those didn't really do what those 2 guys do, but would be a seriously tough fight. Or if he decided to take on Mikey Garcia, which would be another tough fight. He doesn't really do what those 2 guys do, but it would be a tough fight for Manny Pacquiao. Or, like I said, he could take on your Danius you guys, who is the prototype of Errol Spence. He's the prototype of a Terence Bud Crawford. Not exactly what those guys do, but he's built more similar to those two guys. Or perhaps we can get a surprise fight out of Pacquiao. You know, there are a few other names in the welterweight division, but because of the possible stripping of the title, that super title, if he doesn't take on a mandatory or at least a welterweight in early 2021, it does limited options of who he can actually go with. So just to me, man, I think his better option is to take on a decent tune-up fight, man. I don't like McGregor as a tune-up fight. I know a lot of people are leaning toward that. It's not official yet. He did say that he wanted to fight an MMA fighter just to see how it is to fight somebody from the MMA. And he said he alluded to that being his next fight, but he didn't actually say, well, McGregor's going to be my next fight, and I'm doing it because I want to experience what it's like to fight someone from the MMA. But he did allude to that, but it's not official, so there is a possibility that he still takes on Danny, a Sean Porter, a Mikey, you guys, or someone of that caliber, perhaps before he takes on Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. So, to me, I think Terence Crawford's kind of just stuck on an island, man. He's got to come to grips with the fact that he's not the A side, just simply because Spence doesn't have to fight him. He holds 2 titles. Plus the Ring Magazine title, so he actually holds 3 titles, but he holds those 2 titles that he at welterweight, and he has more competition at PBC than Terence Crawford has at Top Rank Boxing. So the only bargaining chips Terence Crawford has in a fight are the fact that he holds 1 belt, and that's not enough for Spence to say, hey, well, I can fight you for the lesser of the money, or I can go fight one of these nobody guys, beat them, not really nobody guys, but a lower name guy from PBC, beat them, pad my stats, and make more money that I'm going to make fighting you. So it's not really in Errol Spence Jr.'s best interest to take the lesser of the cut when it comes to a Terence Crawford fight. But it is in Terence Crawford's best interest to take the lesser of the cut because, like I said, he has no bargaining chips. He's not going to get a Pacquiao fight. I believe Pacquiao realizes that Terence Crawford is stuck on Top Rank Island and he basically has no one to fight. And if he goes and fights him first and loses, then he loses all his bargaining chips and he has to retire. Basically take the McGregor fight and retire because you have no more bargaining chips. You would have lost your titles. So I think Manny Pacquiao's thinking, well, if I can freeze Crawford out, fight somebody else in the meantime, and then go fight Errol Spence, hopefully by then he would have unified with Terence Crawford, over the next year or so. And I think that's a smart chess move by Manny Pacquiao. I kind of feel like that's how it's going to play out. The only other question I have is who's going to be Manny Pacquiao's tune-up fight, man. So y'all let me know down in the comment section who's going to be the tune-up fight for Manny Pacquiao in 2021. Why Terence Crawford's only big fight is Errol Spence Jr. and will Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford happen in 2021 before he takes on Manny Pacquiao? Let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section. Hit that like button for me. As always, believe in yourself, follow your dreams. Your dreams will come true. It's your boy Cardinal Red. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, the man on the moon about Cardinal Red and Ollie Land Boxing Talk. We are out of here.
I walk in with my homie, walk out with your baby mama's home key. I can tell she want it, fat booty so you know a nigga own it. I'm such a OG, last time I checked my verses were for OZ.